hungry, that are intellectually stimulating places. Now that is one of my all-time favorite phrases, favorite sentences, because it's so packed with meaning, because it means a lot of different things to different people. And I think one of our objectives for today is really for you to leave to understand what does it mean to revolutionize the traditional classroom.
Okay, so and I know a lot of you are thinking about, well, how does this fit into this idea of peace? And I think one of the fundamental things that we want you to keep in mind during this presentation is that when we're talking about thinking and learning, we don't want to divorce that from being in a social setting. And so how we grow as thinkers and learners and become more intelligent is also connected to the people and the social context that we're learning in. And what we're thinking about is we want to move away from this culture of debate. I think I've heard a statistic that most people that are representatives in our democracy have a law degree, and they're very used to asserting their position, even if they don't think it's right, and they're not really good at listening to one another. So what we're talking about when we're talking about learning how to think in a community of inquiry, we're doing it in a way that we're also listening to one another, we're treating one another with respect, and that this idea of thinking is not divorced from the social and emotional aspects of our life. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be introducing some key components of philosophy for children. And so there's this theoretical aspect of what philosophy for children is, and then there's an actual practices that you can use. And we use them in classrooms, but what we want to invite people to start thinking about today is how could you use some of these practices and these approaches to facilitating groups outside of classrooms? Could this be something people use in a board meeting or in an upper level military meeting? I mean, where can this go, and how can we use this to help facilitate the way that we learn how to relate to one another and think with one another as a global society? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be introducing this idea of intellectual safety. It's one of the key concepts for cultivating a peaceful community in our classrooms. We're going to be doing something called creating a community ball, which is an activity that helps facilitate our intellectually safe community of inquiry. It's actually a tool to mediate turn-taking while we're having discussions. And if time permitting, we're going to start getting into this larger inquiry of what do we mean by peace education, and not just in schools, but peace education in terms of how we interact with one another on a daily basis. And then we're always going to have some time for reflection at the